Hello, this week we have been working on culturally relevant pedagogy and we will continue that work this week. I've really enjoyed your discussions about culturally relevant pedagogy and Delpit's book. I appreciate how you are discussing your different opinions of the book in a respectful way, and I'm just a couple shout outs. Thank you to Jessica for offering a critique. And I'm glad to see that we're hopefully in the point of the semester where you feel comfortable enough sharing your true thoughts. And also Dawn, who offered some of her personal experience to help expand the conversation. So good job to all of you on that, and please continue. This is hard work, and I know that it can be uncomfortable, but it's really important that we think about culturally relevant pedagogy when we have students in our classroom who are from a different background from us, and that may be that they're from a different economic status than us, or a different race, different linguistic, maybe they speak a different language than you speak at home, and there's, different kinds of marginalization in our society. Immigrant status, religions are even hierarchical in our society. So it's important for us as teachers to reflect on our own implicit bias. We all have it, and the problem is when we ignore that. So I think one of the things that I really appreciate about Delpit's book is that she talks about implicit bias and how she has seen it manifest in the classroom. We are going to read part 3 of Delpit's book for this week. So part 3, I want you to focus on education in a multicultural society. And if you're reading the book as an audible book, it's chapter 16. So chapter 16 in Audible, or Education in a Multicultural Society if you're looking at the PDF. Please read the entire section if you can, the introduction, looking to the future, and teaching literate discourse. These are all really great contributions to education. But if you don't have time, read closely Education in a Multicultural Society. For this discussion, we're using the last word, protocol. So you should only see one group. These are all the different groups. You should only see one group, and whatever is there, what you're going to do is you will identify what you think is the most significant idea from the passage. Maybe it's a quote or an excerpt, and then have a couple backups in case you don't get to the discussion first and someone else has already chosen that one. You will then start your quote by starting a new thread and cutting and pasting the quote. Then in about 250 words, so a little shorter than our regular post, tell why that quote is the most important part of the passage, or why it really struck a chord with you, resonated with you, connected with you more than any of the other parts. Okay, so that is due by Thursday, September 27th. As always, you have 2 days to respond to your peers, but there may be 3 other people in your group. So instead of responding to 2, you'll have to respond to all 3. Respond to what everyone else picked as their quote. Provide a different perspective, or challenge what that person said. Think about maybe some implicit bias that person doesn't realize that may be there. These are smaller discussions, so not everyone's going to see it. And you can, do so delicately. You can question how it relates to your own practice, connect it to yourself. Why is it important to you? Why is it important to our community of learners, all of us as teachers and all of our students? Why is it important, at a national level? Any way that you can expand the discussion. Then on Sunday, you'll go back to your original post. You will read what everyone else said, and then you'll have the final word. So in about 150 words or so, I'm not going to count the words, but I'm just being explicit about my expectation. This is what I have found to be what I consider substantial. About 150 words, you can do this. You respond to what everyone else said and offer how it maybe has changed your thinking or confirmed your thinking or challenged your thinking more. You can also think about how the protocol itself has helped or changed or challenged your thinking in some way, or maybe critique it. How would you improve it? And then everyone will have the chance to do the final word on their post. So this means that in your group, if there's 3 people, there will be 3 threads happening all at the same time. If there's 4 people, there will be 4 threads. If there's 5 people, there will be 5 threads. If you want to see an example of this, here's an example so you can see how this is going to work. And you can also see how to use it in a high school classroom to see how it would relate to your own classes. I try to use strategies in here that you will be able to use in your own classes as well. So speaking of, some of you, when we did the knowledge inventory, asked to learn more about drama-based pedagogy. And one way that I've actually used in my own classrooms is role play. So there's 2 parts to this discussion as well. The first part is you're just gonna go online and find a culturally relevant lesson plan on whatever you teach. You don't have to pick the best one, so there's no level of evaluation when you are picking the lesson plan. The evaluation is going to happen the second part. So then you are going to pretend, so you post your lesson plan and then you leave it alone. When you come back to the discussion board, you are going to pretend that you are either Gloria Ladson-Billings and you're going to use her 3 tenets of culturally responsive teaching, or you're going to pretend that you're Lisa Delpit and you're going to be looking for explicit instruction on academic discourse, explicit instruction on skills without drill and kill, as I call it. You're going to be one of those 2 people, and you're going to look at 2 of your peers' lessons that they posted, and here's where you're going to evaluate. Evaluate the lesson from one of those lenses, either the 3 tenets of culturally responsive pedagogy of Gloria Ladson-Billings, or looking at skills and other dilemmas from Lisa Delpit's point of view. Identify who you are, who you're role playing, and then critique the lesson. What do you see that is culturally relevant? What do you see that is not? How would you modify it to make it more culturally relevant? So you can see that Kelsey's gotten us started here. She has put the lesson plan as a document, and then she cited her source right here. And so then Jessica is doing the role play. She tells us she's Gloria Ladson-Billings. She gives her critique. So way to go, you 2. Okay. All right, so continuing on this week, you are going to be creating then your own lesson plan for culturally relevant pedagogy. And I want to give you a chance to have someone else view it before I look at it. This is going to do 2 things. Number 1, it's going to help you have a better quality product to turn in to me. Number 2 is going to give you a chance to revise before turning it in. And I find that most learning happens during revision process. So having a chance to revise is, I'm hoping, going to give you a deeper level of understanding in culturally relevant pedagogy. And then also it's going to expose you to some other ideas. So you may be thinking about culturally relevant pedagogy in one way in math, but then you look at another math teachers in our class, her lesson plan, and you're like, oh, I never thought about it like that. So it's also going to just help you get some more ideas about what this can look like in the classroom. And that's the other reason that I did the peer review for this. So if you need a little help, here are some videos about culturally relevant pedagogy in math, in science, and in kindergarten. If you need some texts to choose from in order to have a culturally relevant text in order to base your lesson, here are some diverse books. And then you will post your lesson plan on here, and then choose someone else's to peer review, okay? So you will peer review each other's. Once you get your lesson plan back, check it against the rubric, do a final round of self-assessment, and then turn it into me for feedback from me. So you will have peer review, self-assessment on using this rubric, and then you will turn it into me for your final round of feedback. And that will be the end of Module 3. Diving deeper in Module 3, as I told Jessica, this was something I was going to have you do as an assignment, but I was afraid we would run out of time. It's really important though, so I hope you take some time and do these activities. This is testing your implicit bias, this project implicit. This is a simulation of poverty. You can see if you could survive being in poverty in America. So try it. And then there's some quick videos here that I would really like you to watch. So please look at these digging deeper resources as well. Thanks, and have a great week.